Let's get right into it. Hello, folks. It's Alex Sung, your new home know-it-all, and thanks for tuning in to find out more about, new construction, homes, and the real estate biz. Today, I have a great old friend of mine, wonderful colleague that I get the privilege to call a colleague. I'm blessed. I am blessed. So Oriana, I've known her. I mean, we've worked together maybe at a couple of companies. I think. Yes.
At least a couple of companies, at least for the last 10 years, but that may age us, but
Yes.
something like that.
So Oriana with Peak Purpose Coaching, and she is going to take us down a journey today. It's going to blow your guys' mind. So keep watching. Do me a favor, click the like, share, follow, share this with your friends if you find this information important or something that's really like you love this. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta follow up with this, right? Or type a question in the chat for either one of us, and I guarantee you we will get back to you really quick. Okay. So, Oriana, oh my gosh, you and I, have we ever been on video before together?
No, I think we've role played a little bit at some
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
companies, but I'm not sure we've actually done anything video.
Right. And you know what? Unfortunately, I have been with a lot of companies, not I've been with a lot of companies. So, and I won't mention that, right? And we are today not working together, but collaborating, which I love,
I
right?
do
Yes,
too.
yes, yes. Gosh, the phone call last week was fabulous. I
I agree.
blew my mind. So we were together. We were like, oh my God, we couldn't stop talking. We're like, oh no. We need to save this for a podcast, right? We need to save this for. Okay, so here we are, folks. You're getting it firsthand. All right, so we're going to blow it right out of the water, right out the gate. And so, all right, Ariana, first things first, I want to ask this very important question. All right, so
Okay.
if you could teleport anywhere in the world for lunch today, where are we eating?
Anywhere in the world, that is wild. Um,
Didn't expect that one. I got you.
because I travel so much, I don't know if
Yeah,
I want to
no,
go
I
back to a
know.
place I love or a place I've never been.
It's like, where is Oriana today?
That is a good question at any
Yes.
given time. So, places I've been, places I haven't. Okay. I would love to be having lunch in the Alps today, if I could be
Oh
anywhere.
my gosh, that I've never been and would. Oh wow,
Me neither.
that
I went
is
with
that would
somewhere
be
I've never been.
yes. What did you call that? Majestic, but also bucket list item. Bucket list for sure, for sure, for sure.
For sure.
Right. No, folks. Okay, so we're just kind of starting out lightheartedly, so you can know a little bit about Oriana. If you're not following her already, right, you should, because I really meant it. It is like, where is she today? Because
It's a
she
little Carmen San Diego,
right.
right?
She does
Like,
travel a
where in
lot.
the world?
Right. Well,
Um,
that's the privilege of our industry, right?
it really is.
Yes, it is a privilege of our industry. We love it, right? I mean, we've almost been in travel.
Yeah. Travel is definitely a huge passion for sure.
So, Oriana, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, go into a whole kind of lighthearted thing. So, why don't you give everybody a little bit of background about yourself, and
Sure.
so those of that don't already know, they should, right?
I'm
Again,
flattered.
should follow you.
Flattered. So my name's Oriana. Not your everyday name, not your everyday person, for sure. I have been in new home sales for 19 years. I have been in the roles of coaching, training, and sales manager for publicly traded companies. I've sold both in Arizona and in Texas for many years. And I'm insanely passionate about the business we're in and the lives we get to touch every single day. I stumbled in the business. It
Hmm.
was not a pathway I saw for myself. In fact, my degree is in accounting because I'm a math nerd. And so I stumbled in, I fell in love. I've never left.
Not to mention she has been at times when we bump into individuals that are meaningful people in your life, right? I wouldn't say that, I was mentee under you, but God, you are such a great, I've seen this in action. You are a really great individual, right? So from being a mentor. So I mean, it's not like your part-time job, but well, so
Yeah,
kind of like, yeah, why wouldn't I do this, right?
right. Exactly.
So do me a favor. Describe your new thing. Tell me what's
Yeah.
going on. Yes.
So here's how it's all come to be. My absolute favorite thing, besides taking a family through the home building experience,
Hmm.
was coaching and training new and experienced salespeople and leveling them up. It was my favorite part about management. It was my favorite part about being a trainer for some companies that I've been lucky enough to sell for. So, what I thought was, in order to find my true peace, passion, and balance, is to take that component that I love so much and help other new or experienced salespeople, level them up and do on a one-on-one personalized basis
Hmm.
and help them achieve their goals, help them make that money, help them help every family possible that walks in the door, but do it that's catered to them. So, in
Right.
other words, not a broad stroke
Right.
sales coach or training,
Right.
but more personalized. Let me get to know Alex. Let me learn about Alex. And then let me help Alex figure out where his blind spots are
Hmm.
and build a strategy around Alex so that he can go in there confidently and comfortably change lives and maybe just change one more than he would have had we not worked together.
Well, I mean, yeah, well, you kind of answered my next question. I mean, because you've been in the business, this long and so successful. Because I've watched your career, and as well too as we all watch each other on LinkedIn and things of that nature. And I was going to ask you, like, so really, was there a defining moment, like this is what I need to do, and what sparked that, right?
So it's been sort of a passion idea, I'll call it, for about 5 years. I'd take a
Mm,
few steps towards it and
mm,
then I'd go back to selling because it's comfortable and it's familiar and I do love it. And
mm,
then I'd have this roadblock and I'd push a little bit into it a little more and then
mm,
I'd go back to what was familiar. So what finally did it was was working for a company. Everybody was very new to the business. They're all COVID salespeople or newer.
mm.
And there was this lackadaisical mentality of waiting for people to walk in and want what you want and take it right away. And they didn't really understand the salesmanship
There
of it,
was a lot of
right?
that. There is a lot of that.
There's a
Yeah.
lot of it. And
Hmm.
so
Yep.
because they lacked that real salesmanship component, because they came in when it was easier,
Hmm.
when it got harder, right? And so I thought I was
Some
coaching
got
on
out.
the weekends. Some left, which is
Yeah,
what happens, right? We've seen
exactly.
all of the ebbs and flows of new home sales and real estate as a whole,
Right.
and it'll filter people out for sure. But I just had these three partners that wanted to do well, but didn't really have any fundamentals in place. So we'd role play, I'd share my follow up, but I'm doing all of this while selling, while being a trainer, and for free. And I couldn't give them enough to truly change their life because
Hmm.
of all the other hats I have to wear as a salesperson and employee. So
Hmm.
that sort of finalized the need being bigger than I realized for someone who just wants to work with one person at a time and help change your life.
Right, 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 right. Wow. So I'm exactly with you, right? The industry has its ebbs and flows, and then like we have seen a good flood of individuals, but it's consistent, right? There are these companies these days are hiring individuals straight out of wherever they're coming from, as well
Mhm.
too. It's just a basic retail, but without foundational sales, and then the deeper knowledge,
Right.
right, comes later, and then like. Yeah, I mean, how many have we kind of like helped along?
I
And
mean, if we had to count, probably dozens, if
I
not
mean, yeah,
creeping into
easy.
100 between the two of us.
Right, right, right,
Yeah,
right, right, right,
for
right,
sure.
right. Oh my gosh. Right. So, okay, with all this experience of, new construction, negotiating, understanding the business side of new homes. So what's What has been something like might be your toughest challenge while launching this business?
So I never saw myself leaving corporate America. And you and I both know how much we love what we do. So this is foreign ground for me. I never pictured myself
Mm,
self-employed. I never
mm,
pictured myself a business owner.
mm.
So I am learning in real time what all of those steps look like to go
Right,
from
right.
an employee to the employer, so to
Mm,
speak, right? And so while it's a team of one, at the same time, man, from LLC, designing, branding, launching, scheduling, socials, just when you really care about what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish,
hmm
you put so much heart into it. And
hmm
so it has been incredibly time consuming
hmm
in the most beautiful way that I'm just learning what it looks like on the back end so that I can be completely focused on each client one on one.
Right.
As that I took months to build and establish, and it will start to run itself on the backside.
So, are you able to give me a little bit of a journey? Say a random name, Courtney. She just started last year,
Yeah.
and she's finding some challenges, right?
Yeah.
Which,
Yep.
understandable, right? First year,
Of
we
course.
know we've been there.
Of course.
So, can you tell us a little bit about what their journey is going to look like? And if you can elaborate, I
Yeah.
know it's secret sauce stuff.
No, no, no. No secret sauce here. Totally good. So every client at this point is going to get the choice of three different ways to navigate this based on their comfort level.
hmm
So we can do a one-on-one, one singular session, 90 minutes. You have one singular challenge, so to speak. So there's just one thing that you know you're falling short on that's keeping you from moving the needle.
mm
So you can go in, you can book a 90-minute session. You can even use that just to test how we work well together or the
hmm
results you might get.
hmm
So you could just do that. And that's perfectly okay because some people just have one area, right? Maybe it's just follow up like, man, I'm
Right,
getting ghosted. I need help with the
right,
ghosting.
right,
I need to navigate the ghosting. And
right.
so, perfect. Then you've got some new folks that are like, you know what? I don't even know what having a coach means,
hmm
but I know there's a lot of things I don't know
Right,
that I don't know.
right, right,
And
right,
so
right.
you can book a 30-day. So that's going to be 4 1-hour video sessions
Uh-huh.
plus a weekly text or email follow up to see
Uh-huh.
how it's going, see how the practice is, see
Wow.
how the results are coming together. If there were questions or pushback that you might have got from the strategy we created. And so that gives you not only a weekly video chat to build together, but it gives accountability that week about the follow through, which I think is where it's all at.
Mm.
And then let's say you know that there's a lot you want to learn. You just got in the business. Your aunt knows somebody who knows somebody. You walked in the door, they handed you the keys on your third day and said, sell. So there's also a 90-day program that says, listen, I just need to know from when I unlock the door to when I lock the door, what does my day look like? How do
hmm
I structure it? How
hmm
do I become effective?
Uh-huh.
What do I do that the business is going to help me with? And what do I do on my own that drives my business even further? So I have this saying, I've said it for my entire career. If you do the things others aren't doing, you'll get the results others aren't getting.
I love it.
And that's the
Love it.
90-day program.
I love this. So and I'm thinking from a professional end, just something else kind of popped up as you were explaining this, and which I'm sure you have a solution for this as well too. So what about those that are, because we're always measuring each other, right? Well, ourselves against the rest of the team. Okay, maybe I'm not in the top 10 percentile, but I'm in the top 50 percentile, but I want to get to the 10 percentile,
Mhm,
which I know you've been there at the 1 percentile. So
mhm.
so do you wow, so you're going to be able to help those customers as well too.
Yes, this is not designed around new to new homes sales professionals. This
Uh-huh.
is also equally designed for experienced salespeople who are ready to level up, who are ready to be incredibly competitive, who are chasing that number one spot on the team just for
hmm
themselves,
hmm
if not for their family or any other why, because your why is just as important as the next why.
Who doesn't want to be number one? I mean,
I mean, who
yeah,
doesn't want to be
yeah.
the
I
best at what
mean,
they do?
in this business, I mean, that's what it is.
It's what it
Yeah,
is. So
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
business is derived around results. And so your team will have a goal for you. You'll have a personal goal, but then there's that number in the back of your mind that you're like, but if I can do that,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
changes my life and it
yeah,
changes my family's life.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm going to help you find that
Right.
because I have started in the middle and I've chased the top and I've sat at the top and I've watched the top and I have a pretty good idea of what it looks like to
Yeah.
not only navigate that mindset, but get there and stay there. And I
I
think that's where the experience comes in.
You're just like those coaches for, like the start. I mean, the up and comings, right? As well, too, right? So, I mean, you could be whatever it was, right? Football, baseball,
Yep,
cheerleading, whatever. I mean, everybody had a coach to get to where they got to, right? To get that gold, so to
right,
say, get the gold medal, right?
right,
They had a coach, and it was all the way through, not just in the beginning,
right.
right?
It's
Mm-hmm.
amazing that people don't realize that elite athletes have a coach to get to the point where they're contracted for that professional team, but then they have a coach through their contract with that professional team. And there
Mm-hmm.
is nothing wrong with saying, listen, I strive to be the best and I'm not there. But I can't get there alone. It takes a village, right? And so if you've got great management, that's one key. You've
Yeah,
got a great product, that's another key. But if you don't have a coach, it's going to help you elevate and do those things that
right.
others don't do to get the results
Mm-hmm.
others don't get, then you're falling short in that one area and it could literally just change your business overnight. It's just a mindset shift that someone else gets to have a part of.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think that wow, it just kind of fits you really well. I mean, I thought about it, I was like, I really didn't think that, but having this conversation really has brought it all together. You're going to help a lot of individuals. Um, so basically, you're going to be somebody's best new bestie.
Yeah. And you're going to cash big checks that are a reflection of our time together. And
Right,
I want
yeah.
nothing more than for everybody to sell more homes. I mean, it is a competitive environment
Mm,
in new home sales. And not just amongst yourself and amongst your sales partners, but also all the other builders you may be in the vicinity of. It doesn't need to be lonely.
mm,
And it can get lonely when you
mm.
start to climb to the top. So I just want everyone who's working that hard to achieve that thing to know that they have a support system that is honest and hardworking and authentic and genuinely cares about their success.
Right. Well, I mean, so you got people out there now watching. I mean, whether they're in their profession or thinking about getting into the profession, right? So,
Yeah,
and you've been in sales beyond this, and you know what? But in this industry, like we have lots of like jokes and stuff like that as well too.
right,
So
right.
let's get some news here, some tea, right? So be honest. What's the funniest objection you have ever had to overcome? Because folks, she is the queen of overcoming any objection. I'm telling you from Martians. So I'd love to hear hers. Like what's your funniest one? Yeah.
It takes me no time to come up with this
I'm
because
sure.
it wasn't that long ago when
Mm,
this happened. Okay, so picture me in Arizona. It is the middle of summer. So if you're not familiar, that could mean 110 to 120 degrees.
yeah.
They're going to call it a dry heat. I don't care. It's a blow dryer in your face feeling.
Yeah.
And it's windy. I'm out in the outskirts
Mm,
of the Valley of Phoenix. And this gentleman walks in with out of state plates. And I ask him some general questions, and I'm a naturally curious person. So I said, I
mm,
can't help but notice you have out of state plates. And he said, yes, I'm just visiting. We drove in from Southern California today with
hmm
the idea of maybe we would want to invest in a home here. But I have a couple of questions. And I'm like, I love questions. Let's talk.
hmm
He said, is it always this hot in July? Yeah, it
I mean,
absolutely is
it's
always
it's
this hot
Arizona.
in July.
Yeah.
He said, is it always this dusty here? And I said, in the desert, you mean? Yep. Yeah, it's always dusty in the desert. And he said, so like, does it ever cool off in July? I'm like, no, sir. In Phoenix, in July, we don't have things called cool offs. We have pools. And certainly we stay open late in the evening so you can try to do some shopping when it's darker and maybe a little cooler than the middle of the day. But this is what living in Phoenix looks like. He said, yeah, I had no idea. I don't want to live where it's hot and I don't want to live where it's dusty. And I had no idea. And so if I invested, I don't know that anyone would want to rent for me either because I couldn't stand living here. And
Mm.
I said, you know what? I don't think I'm a good fit for you. That was a very honest feedback because he had no concept of location.
Uh-huh.
And if those things are already bothering you and you don't know that you could even invest in that, let alone live in that
Mm.
someday,
Hmm.
Phoenix just may not be a great fit as a whole.
Yeah. I'm like,
And
why?
sometimes it's okay. Listen, you have to give permission to say, I don't know that I'm a good fit.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
why am I selling? There's no point getting to pricing and product if
Hmm.
you haven't quite wrapped your head around temperature and dirt.
Right.
I mean, honestly, right?
Right.
So
Right. Right.
the most beautiful thing I learned in new home sales from a trainer a
Mm.
long time ago was sometimes it's okay to just say, I don't think I'm a good fit.
Mm. Mm.
Because our time
Mm.
is precious. And
Mm.
the next person that walks in,
Mm.
if you're caught up in that, trying to overcome the things you cannot control, like
Mm.
weather
Hmm.
and dust,
Hmm.
you might miss a genuine opportunity that walks in next. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
won't.
Yeah.
I won't.
So,
So,
I mean, almost as a professional trainer, the individuals that you meet, aside of that customer, right?
yeah.
Hilarious. I mean, I know I'm with you about telling people. Sometimes you got to tell people what they need to hear,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
what they need to hear.
For
But then you
sure.
you come across individuals that you're training as well too, and people come along with baggage,
Yeah.
right? And you have to
Right.
kind of well, you know, as a trainer, right?
Yep.
Tell me what you think about that. You know, and I mean, it's just an open floor, right? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think there's two ways to look at that.
Mm,
There's sales baggage. So as
mm,
a salesperson, Um, man, if you don't actually believe in the art of salesmanship, you're gonna be very frustrated in the day-to-day need to ask hard questions, to ask closing questions, and to ask a complete stranger to spend $500,000. And in the first visit, if you do it right and be willing to take the no and figure out why. Right. And
mm,
so sales baggage looks like, do you actually love what you do? Do you
mm,
believe in the art of sales?
right.
Because if you're just here thinking this is easy money, some of us make it look easy. It's the hardest job to be commission only sales, I think, in the entire country.
Yeah.
So there's challenges. So sales baggage. Salespeople walk in with their own preconceived notions. They walk in with no concept of having even bought a new home before themselves, and they don't really
Mm,
thoroughly understand the
right.
process.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, and then you've got buyer baggage, right? So
Right.
that's a difficult one.
Mm.
I love it. So I love asking people, so how many builders have you visited?
Oh
And
my gosh.
how
Yeah.
many salespeople are calling you every single day just to say, hey, Anne, I'm just following up?
I love the phrase. It should be on speed.
How
Like,
many emails say, hey, Anne, did you have a chance to apply with our mortgage company yet?
yeah.
I'm just following up. And when they tell me 10, 12, we've been doing this for the last month of weekends, I love
Hmm.
it. I
Hmm.
love it
Hmm.
because that means they all fell short
Hmm.
somewhere in the process. And I get to impress them by giving them a completely unique experience.
Hmm.
And I'm going to find out where they have failed in
Hmm.
order for me to be better.
Hmm. Hmm.
Bad reps are a
Oh,
real thing.
this
People will
this right
walk
here could be its own kind of show right here,
in
or
class.
I'm sure you have a whole module of training just on this. Okay, yeah,
Yep.
because I
Hmm.
know I'm guilty. I have fell into this rabbit hole of, hey, just just checking in. Just fine. Yeah, I know you're shaking your head like,
I
ouch.
know who my first client is. So I've got one-on-ones, I've got a 30-day program. But the truth is, when you've done it for so long, you do get in your routine, right?
Mhm,
And you just do what you've always done to get the results you've always got. And that's okay when you're successful, if you're doing well, if you're paying the bills, taking care of your family. But I challenge you, Alex, and
mhm,
everybody listening
mhm,
to get creative, be different than your competition,
mhm,
and cater to the customer, not to your comforts.
mhm,
So don't follow up the way that you're comfortable following up. Follow up with how they want to be followed up,
mhm,
right?
mhm.
Because that's truly where people fall short.
This is a
So they're
little
not
bit of
getting
free
ghosted.
gold here for you folks.
You're not getting ghosted. You're
Yeah.
just not catering the process to your
Mm,
customer. You're
mm,
doing what's comfortable. But
mm,
the
mm,
days and times of calling, people don't answer their phone anymore. That's like door knocking. They got a video, they see you're soliciting, they're not answering, right? So
right,
nobody takes phone calls, but are
right.
you doing a voice text? Are you doing a video text? Are you just texting, period? Because that's how some of these age groups only communicate. But you know what? Maybe they are getting 10 texts from 10 salespeople. Are you sending your voice text? Are you doing a video of yourself? Be different, be unique, but cater to them because each age group and each buyer profile has their own desired way to be talked to.
Mm.
And don't do just what's comfortable because comfortable is not going to move the needle.
I love it. I love it. I could probably sit here and ask you about all the training and advice, but we can't give that away, folks. Okay, so she is trying to help everybody, one individual at a time, one company at a time.
You know what? I think there's a lot of trainers that specialize in builder training,
Hmm.
and that's really not my heart. So I
Hmm.
love those builder trainers. I've been trained by all of the best builder trainers over my career, and they have a place, but that's a very broad stroke training.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what I want to do is help people hear them, feel them, stay within their character, their comfort, their integrity, but
Hmm.
also strategize what that follow up looks like,
Hmm.
what that overcoming objections looks like. The other day, I say the other day, and that could mean 5 years ago, but the other day, a young woman came in with her realtor and she said, we just wanted to come back. We had a question. I looked up the Google reviews of your builder. And there were some that were very concerning, and I don't want to move forward unless you can explain to me what these reviews meant. And she printed them. And her disclaimer was they're not from your community. They are not from you. They're not even from your state, some of them. But it
Hmm.
doesn't change that I'm concerned because this is a publicly traded company. So it may just be that everyone performs the same. She
Hmm.
printed them,
Hmm.
read them off to me. My sales partner's eyes were as big as silver dollars because she's never been asked this and she would not have, and this is her self-proclaiming, not have known what to say next. And we went through them one at a time. And I explained everything I could explain to give her peace and comfort and confidence that
Hmm.
she was making a great decision.
Hmm.
I explained what Better Business Bureau really looks like. I explained the squeaky wheel theorem. I've
Hmm.
explained a lot of things,
Hmm.
but I also explained to her what we do should a situation arise. No
Hmm.
one's perfect.
Hmm.
No builder is perfect. They're built by human hands. They're
Hmm.
imperfect by nature.
Hmm.
So sometimes things do turn up after the fact that we need to address.
Right.
Here's the piece about warranty. Here's the piece about being able to contact me. I'm going to be your person through the process, but I'm also going to be your front line when you're done. And I think that that comfort level has to come from you authentically, but you
Right.
can't stumble. You lose
Right.
the buyer in that scenario if you
Right.
stumble for a moment or
Right.
ask to revisit it or can I call you with some answers
Right.
later? You have to be prepared. And
Right.
there's a level of preparedness that most new home sales agents who've gotten the business the last 5 years
Right.
have not had to encounter because
Right.
there was always another deal waiting.
Yeah.
So it's a different market.
Yeah.
And those are the levels of confidence I want to instill in our counterparts out there
Hmm.
so that they can answer those things, but also close the deal. So she did buy, she did build. She couldn't have been more happy, but she was an engineer. She had
Hmm.
engineer thoughts and
Hmm.
engineer questions,
Hmm.
and she went to the Google, and I'm
Right.
here for it. No,
Right.
you should be researching your own Google reviews,
Right.
by the way. You
Right.
should know
Right.
exactly what people are saying about your builder
Right.
publicly.
So for folks, you really need to understand. So, she's talking to you if you're looking to level up, right? We all have the corporate trainings, right? We all have the corporate and we dread them. Don't let's no don't get let's not get around that. We dread them. But this is different.
Mhm.
This is your own coach, your own training for yourself,
Yeah.
right? So you are deciding what you want to do with your career, right? So this is amazing. I love it. So one-on-one coaching, and so the thing is, she was prepared, right? She was prepared. I mean, when it does, you don't just like, oh, I'm gonna open a book and it's gonna be prepared for me. No, that doesn't work like that. So, and I get exactly what she's doing. This is amazing. I love it. I love it.
So nothing you do in hiring me as your personal coach will cost you more than a commission. In fact, much
Mm,
less than a single commission. So my commitment to myself and my
mm,
clients is to
mm,
give you the tools that if you choose to implement and you follow the strategy and you follow through for yourself more than anything,
mm.
it will result in a minimum of one more commission than what you would have otherwise earned and would have already paid for me and then some.
I
So
love it.
nothing
Yeah.
I have to offer comes in anywhere near what one singular
Right,
additional commission a year
right,
will gain you
right,
for having that help through this.
right. People ask me all the time, Alex, why do you do whatever you do, right? Because and we all have our unique superpower and things like that,
Yeah.
and whatever it is. And I do it because if I could get that one extra deal every quarter,
Yeah,
I mean that makes you quite a bit of money,
that's
right?
right.
I mean that's more than a lot of people's bonus for sure. Easy.
A whole year.
Right.
One
Yeah,
extra closing,
exactly.
depending on your price point,
Right, exactly.
one extra
So,
closing a quarter is
right,
equivalent to some people's annual salary.
right. You have to think about it. Yeah, that's worth it.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah.
That's an easy answer, right?
You essentially have nothing to lose. And that's
Yeah,
how I wanted to
right,
structure this
right.
is you have nothing to lose. You
Mm,
only have to gain not
mhm,
only insight, not only something personal, but also privacy, right? So not everybody has a manager that they can be vulnerable to say, I'm not good at this. Can you help me? So that's the other component is
mhm,
so much of us and our egos and our reputation is afraid to go to leadership and expose what we've reflected on that we are falling short in.
right.
And so here's a safe place, a safe space, completely anonymous. It's just you and me, and no one has to know how you move the needle, what you did to move the needle. And if someone privately asks you, hey, I can't help but notice. You went from averaging 2 sales a month to four for months at a time. What happened? What changed? If
Mhm,
you just pass my name and number along, I'll
mhm,
take care of the rest.
mhm.
But that's the only thing I ask. Everything else you get to take full credit for. Nobody has to know anything about what you found you needed help with and the avenue that you took to get it. So this is the other component is not that that's secret, but it's private, right?
Mhm,
So
mhm.
management doesn't need to know that you found an area that you had a blind spot on. Nobody needs to know.
Right.
You and I are going to work through the blind spot, and then you're going to change your life.
Love it. Love it. So I need to ask you one more question. So like, and I've just been so much of a fan of you traveling around and all this kind of stuff, right? All of
Yeah,
this I mean, it's almost like I go on there just to see like where is she
yeah,
at, right?
sure.
So as is kind of a venture seeker and launching your business, have you been able to incorporate these travels and all this stuff that you've gotten from these travel and incorporate it into the launch of your business or incorporating it into your business as it is,
Okay.
right?
So let me just say this. My dream board for 2025 was wild. Um,
Hmm.
not only did it encompass launching this business, it also encompassed hiking to Everest Base Camp, running the New York Marathon, and everything in between. So within 6 months, I am going to have hiked Everest Base Camp, which I just got back from a few weeks ago,
Wow.
just launched straight into marathon training to run my very first marathon ever at the New York Marathon in November, 6 months apart.
Hmm.
So, yes, the name of my company is Peak Purpose. My love of hiking, trekking, the peace I find in the mountains, the time I spend up there with my thoughts, with my problem solving mindset is really a big component of my peace in my life. And so Peak Purpose came from that. My branding is of Everest Mountain and a sunrise imagery coming from behind it. And I had a epiphany on my hike up to Everest through the Himalayas. It is a 15-day trek, and I had an incredible experience. I can get into it another time, but I will say everything is connected. I don't do anything that doesn't have a ton of purpose and thought and care involved. And it was all validated on that hike and on that trek and my experience there of everything I was working on before I got there. And it was the most beautiful, peaceful experience, the hardest thing I've ever done. But
Mhm.
from a business perspective, in the back of my mind, I had some really incredible moments that made it all make sense.
Hmm.
And so, yes, they're
Hmm.
all connected.
Hmm.
The name of the company is 100% who I am.
Wow. I kind of had an inkling feeling, right? I didn't, it's like, I need to ask her, right?
Yeah.
Folks, I ask these questions so that you can really get to know the guest, but star guest.
Oh,
Thank you very much for joining us and telling us a little bit about what you're doing, changing the industry, changing lives, right? Yeah, I love it. You're gonna be changing lives. Well,
yeah.
you've already changed many lives. I know that,
Oh,
and I'm glad to call you friend. So Oriana, please tell everybody how they or best can reach or find you.
yeah. So I'm going to be already available on socials. That's going to be LinkedIn, TikTok, and Instagram. I have an email, Oriana at yourpeakpurpose.com. So you can email me direct there with any questions you may have. I have already got some founders openings, launching day, calendar invites for the first few to just take advantage of getting in early, getting their choice of days and times. So socials, scheduling, you can find my link in bio on all of them for all of that. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you. I'm flattered by your kindness and your openness to hear me out and invite me onto your special show and share me with your network. You are an incredible sales professional. I definitely love your approach to everything. And this title, New Home Know It All, is perfect for your personality. And I absolutely love what you do out there.
Oh, well, thank you very much. And folks, if you have trouble finding her, just reach out to me, which I don't think you will, but it'll be in the description and comments below as well too. But again, I was serious earlier. If you have a question and you want to find out a little bit more, ask, type it in the comments or pull the chat in or send a DM, right? We
Definitely.
will definitely get to you, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody. And thank you, Oriana, for being a lovely guest. I hope to have you back very soon after your much success,
Thank you.
maybe in a short period of time. And you never know, I might be calling you really soon.
It's all anonymous.
Love it.
Thank you for your time, Alex.
Bye.